President Joe Biden said on Friday that he is willing to negotiate with Russian President Vladimir Putin to bring an end to the war. Listen in.
I'm prepared to speak with Mr. Putin if, in fact, there is an interest in him deciding he's looking for a way to end the war. He hasn't done that yet.
For the record, the two presidents haven't met face-to-face since the start of Moscow's invasion. However, communication lines between the two nations have remained open. Top US officials in recent weeks have emphasized maintaining dialogue with Russia is of paramount importance. Biden also said that these talks, if Putin is interested, would only be held if NATO and Ukraine are up for it, which seems unlikely at the moment. And then the White House stepped in. Contradicting Biden's statement, National Security spokesperson John Kirby said, "We are just not at a point now where talks seem to be a fruitful avenue to approach right now." The US has been leading the pack when it comes to aiding Kyiv. Since February, the Biden administration has provided more than $18.2 billion to the war-torn nation. It gave some of the best weapons in its kitty to help Ukraine fight Russian aggression. In the process, it ended up depleting its own and NATO's arsenal. Still, the Biden administration has made it extremely clear that aid to Ukraine will not stop. This is despite the Republican Party and a section of US citizens calling for an end to quote-unquote blank checks to Ukraine. They believe the US is not only depleting its own resources but also increasing the chances of a direct face-off with Russia. The West expects Russia to pull out of Ukraine and restore normalcy in the war-torn nation. But Russia remains unfazed. Hours after Biden's statement, the Kremlin said it was open to negotiations but not on the West's demand to pull out of Ukraine. Not just that, Moscow also wants the West to recognize the four regions Russia annexed 3 months back: Donetsk, Kherson, Luhansk and Zaporizhia. That is surely not going to happen. By doing so, the West would legitimize what actually is Ukraine's territory. Spokesman Dmitry Peskov told reporters earlier that Putin remained open to talks aimed quote-unquote to ensure our interests. He said, "What did President Biden say in fact?" He said that negotiations are possible only after Putin leaves Ukraine. Moscow isn't going to do that. Russia has now pushed the ball back into the West's court. Moscow has acknowledged that even some European nations are seeking an end to the war and reiterated for the two sides to come to the negotiating table. In fact, even the United States has been secretly pushing Ukraine to dial down the rhetoric of not wanting to speak with Russia. The West seems to be growing tired of such a prolonged conflict. But do you think these diplomatic efforts of peace talks will fructify?